Hmm?
Coming from down 5 minutes.
Let it be in that profile. Huh? Both are working on you. Let it be in that profile. Hello?
Let me get up again.
One.
Good afternoon, Bhavna. Good afternoon, Kedia sir. Namaste.
Good afternoon. Namaste.
Good afternoon, Neelam ma'am. So nice to see you.
Absolutely echoing the same sentiment. Sir is back again with all his wonderful training programs, and you are all on board with us.
I know it's so nice to be
We need
here.
to say a very big thank you to him actually for this kind of perseverance and dedication. Thank you, sir.
Totally grateful.
This is the topic today, no, Bhavna, integrating newspaper-based learning.
With the
It's really
curriculum,
wonderful.
yes.
I'm going to just send out a message to all my staff to join immediately.
Oh, yes. Most welcome. More the merrier.
Santosh, can you just give me a call on my mobile, please?
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Bhavna will wait 10 minutes more to let people, I think people are joining more than two. I think you have to also make it about YouTube after 500, huh?
Ji. Okay, sir. I think we can start, huh? Ji, sir.
Good afternoon and welcome to all of you. You are already aware that USF is organizing the regular training sessions for the enhancement of the skill of all the participants, especially the teaching and non-teaching staff, through various reputed educators or trainers, agencies, Adit Birla Academic, S.J. College, Mumbai, QEDRAK, Vadodara, Green Acres, and Clone Futura. We have already conducted about 11 training programs so far. Today is a 12th program being conducted. Our training, our USF training core team consists of Debika Chatterjee, the director of JBCN, Dr. Sheetal, head of Academic Children's Academy, Mrs. Kalpana, principal of Jamna Bhai, Dr. Neelam, academic head and CEO of Pridarshini Group of Pune, and Dr. Gita, the principal of S.J. College, Mumbai. All our core team is devoting their valuable time and the energy to organize these training programs, and also to see that all of you enhance your skill. I pay my gratitude to all my core teams for their valuable time and their inputs. Our training partners are also choosing their best trainers and educators. I am delighted to share with you all that all our participants are really enhancing their skills and sharpening their vision. I believe very firmly that training is only medicine for survival. Only the medicine for best survival. I request Dr. Sheetal to take it forward, the session. Sheetal, you are on mute. Sheetal, you are on mute.
Thank you for unmuting me. I think the admin had muted me, sir. Never mind. I think thanks are in order to Kedia, sir, because there are so many teachers gaining advantage from all these sessions that are being conducted by USF. And the teacher fraternity, especially from my group of schools, have asked me to convey their thanks to you, sir. And I'm sure it's the case with everyone here. No matter how much trained you get, there's still everybody's wanting more. So thank you, Kedia ji, for that. And without much ado, I should be introducing Ms. Bhavna Tandon. Ma'am, a very interesting topic, integrating newspaper with education, and let's see what you have in store for us. So friends, about Ms. Bhavna Tandon, she holds a master's degree in clinical psychology, a diploma in fashion designing, and has 18 years of experience as an educationist. From setting up a preschool and daycare for the little toddlers to heading the primary section of Gujarat board and also the CBSE schools, she has successfully led a team of teachers to attain excellence while stressing upon holistic growth of students. She's well-versed and adept with the nuances of dealing with children, parents, and staff for their mental well-being as well, the need of the hour. She has also lent her expertise in the development of academic curriculum, and not just for generic schooling, but also for students struggling with emotional, behavioral, and other academic concerns. In Jan 2021, she founded QEDRAK. Ma'am, have I got it right, the pronunciation?
QEDRAK, yes.
Yes. And this was with an aim to plug the gaps in school education by enabling school institutes for restructuring and aligning their operations to NEP 2020. Also for empowering teachers through the variety of QEDRAK professional development courses, workshops, and webinars. And we have had a host of sessions from your team, and all of them have been appreciated. Now, today we are looking forward to what's in store for us from the head honcho of QEDRAK. Ma'am, the stage is yours. Please start. Yeah.
One thing I wanted to add, it was a news to me that Bhavna is also a fashion designer.
Okay.
So, as my special request, besides enhancing the skill of teachers and non-teaching staff, she can also conduct a fashion designing program so that we all of us will get a better dress sense.
Absolutely, sir. I second that. Majority of the teachers being the women folk, we will surely appreciate one course on fashion designing. Okay, on that note, ma'am, you can start. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
A very good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Kedia sir and Dr. Sheetal, for this wonderful introduction and a warm welcome. Team QEDRAK truly feels blessed and grateful to be sharing this forum with you all and the teacher fraternity from across Maharashtra schools. And we are really, really glad to have you all here with us today. On this note, I would begin today's presentation titled Integrating Newspaper-Based Learning with the Curriculum. Thank you. So moving on, the agenda for today is to start with Introduction to Newspapers in Education, curricular integration, implementing newspaper-based learning, followed by conclusion and takeaways, ending with Q&As. And I hope it is an interactive session and we have some question and answers towards the end. But before I move to the introduction, let me read out this beautiful quote by Michael Connelly, an American author of detective novels and other crime fiction. And he says, a newspaper is the center of a community. It's one of the tent poles of the community, and that's not going to be replaced by websites and blogs. So the quote emphasizes the importance and role of newspapers within a community despite the rise of digital media as we see. And if you notice, Connelly refers newspapers as tent poles of a community, which means they are crucial for holding up the community together, much like tent poles supporting a tent. So basically, this analogy highlights the newspaper's role is to provide reliable information and foster communication, which is not easily replaceable by your Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or any other platform, as they may not have the same depth, authenticity, or community focus. And this is why it has to be an integral part of school education. So now let's begin with the introduction, which is the first part.
डिस्कनेक्ट करके कनेक्ट करो वापस ऑप्शन आएगा नहीं ये
Can we please mute the participants?
हो गया ना बात कोई वापस बोलेगा लेगा नहीं
Thank you.
क्या है आपका नाम किधर है
So teachers, my question to you all is, why newspapers? Why should newspapers be a part of
पावर चला जा रहा है
space?
Namita Sonavni, ma'am, please request you to mute yourself.
Thank you. So teachers, my question to you is, why should newspapers be a part of our education space or the school education? I would really appreciate if you could type your responses in the chat window. Yes, teachers, if you could type, why do you think we should integrate or newspapers should be an integral part of school education? Enhance reading skills, to increase vocabulary, absolutely. It is one of the most reliable sources, yes. Best source for current affairs, yes. Holistic development, yes. It spreads awareness, civic awareness, very nice. Oh my God, yes, those are lots of responses. Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much, teachers. So let's see what I have in store for you, why newspapers should be a part of our integral, it should be a part of our education space. So all believe is true. That's because they provide students with up-to-date information across a variety of subjects. That's what some of the teachers also wrote in their responses. Secondly, regular exposure to newspaper content can greatly enhance a student's understanding of civic duties and responsibilities. So see, newspapers cover a wide range of topics, which include local and national government news, environmental concerns, and community events. So which encourage young readers to become informed and engaged citizens. Thirdly, we all agree newspapers integrate elements from diverse disciplines, making them an excellent tool for interdisciplinary learning. An article on climate change, for instance, might include aspects of science, economics, and political science. This approach helps students see the connections between different fields of study and understand how multidisciplinary approaches are necessary to tackle complex problems. Say, for example, a third grade class is reading an article about a local park renovation. So the teacher can use this article to explore multiple subjects like, first, WAU, that is the world around us, the EVS and the SS part. A teacher can discuss the types of plants and animals that might inhabit the park and the ecosystems they form. In math, students can collect data of variety of plant species present in the park and do tally counting. They can also explore history of the park and its significance to the community under GK. In arts, students can draw maps or plans of what they think the renovated park should include. And they can also write letters to the city council about what features they think are important for the park in the language bit. And in the second language, vocabulary can be enhanced by identifying and translating new words in the article and using them in sentences. The newspapers also serve as a bridge linking classroom theory with the reality outside school walls. For example, in grade 4, as you can see on the screen, students are learning about weather patterns in science. So the teacher can use a local newspaper article about a recent unusual weather event in their city, such as an unexpected rainfall or a particularly strong thunderstorm. Now, here's how the lesson could unfold. Similarly, as I told you for grade 3, in grade 4, in WAU, that is World Around Us, the teacher explains new weather terms and concepts found in the article, such as forecast, air pressure, red, orange, yellow alerts, global warming, etc., relating them back to the science lessons on weather. In math, the class could work on simple math problems related to the weather event, like counting rainfall amount or comparing temperatures, etc. In reading comprehension, students can practice reading skills by going through the article with the teacher to help them understand new vocabulary and the main idea of what happened during the weather event. In second language, students can practice reading comprehension with the article and improve communication skills by discussing its content, debating on sustainable practices, or even role-playing as farmers or traders. And in art and writing, after discussing the article, students could draw pictures of their own experience of weather event and write a few sentences about what they have illustrated. So for us educators, newspapers are also great because they are readily available in print or online. The content is current, as some of you mentioned. The vocabulary is common and practical. The stories are short and informative. They promote thinking and discussion, and the content appeals the readers. And last but not the least, newspapers are also called as living textbooks. Unlike textbooks, newspapers offer fresh, relevant content that can greatly enrich the curriculum. And that's what makes the newspaper a fantastic tool for creating engaging and informative learning activities. Having said that, I don't mean to say that textbooks have zero value. Here's a disclaimer. When I talk about using newspapers in the classroom, I'm not saying textbooks aren't important. Textbooks give us the crucial basics we need, but think of newspapers as a bonus that helps connect everything we learn in our textbooks to what's happening in the world right now. It's all about making learning even better and more connected to real life. So now when we look at the structure of the newspaper, it has an array of elements or sections. So why don't you all tell me, what are the typical sections? Now that, okay, there was this glimpse of what was the sections. So what kind of sections are there in the newspaper? Teachers, please write in the chat box. Yes, weather reports, sports. Yes, yes, a lot of sports, politics, of course. Advertisements, yes, news, puzzles, editorials, glamour, current affairs, about market, business, yes. Finance, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much. Crossword, yes, I love crossword. So broadly, if you talk of the sections, it includes news, editorials, features or the articles, sports news, business news, entertainment, advertisements, and announcements. So broadly, these are the sections which are part of the newspapers. So with so much content in a newspaper, it is important for us to also know and understand what kind of newspaper is available in the market, which will be age appropriate and relevant for the age group that we are dealing with. So as you all can see on your screens, you can subscribe to these few, which are, one is Robin Age, Young World by the Hindu, children's newspaper, junior age, Curious Owl, News for Kids, and our favorite one by TOI, NIE, News in Education. So by subscribing to any of the options that I just shared, you can reap the following benefits. So how it helps the students? It will foster literacy skills, develop critical thinking, and create an opportunity for your students to engage with the real world. And this is the answer to the first question I asked: why do you think newspapers should be a part of our education space? So when I say literacy skills, these can be developed by regular reading of newspaper. Students get exposed to a diverse vocabulary. They learn new words, and they also, words in new and contextually rich settings that usually enhance comprehension and retention of our children. Their exposure to varied writing styles also lead to improved reading speed, accuracy, and expression. So this is the literacy part. Similarly, critical understanding and analytical thinking can also be improved. And let's see how. Newspapers contain a wide array of information, including detailed narratives and complex concepts that enhance critical understanding and analytical thinking. They also have multiple viewpoints on various issues. Evaluating these helps students develop the ability to think critically about these varied texts. They also encourage readers to form and justify their personal opinions on wide range of topics, enhancing the skill of developing perspectives. And lastly, the regular updates on local, national, and international events help students stay informed about the world around them, making learning immediate and relevant. So basically, a deeper understanding of societal and global issues can motivate students to participate in spreading social awareness and become a better citizen of the nation and the world. So I hope now you all have understood the importance and relevance of newspaper in curriculum. So now we move on to the most important part, the how of NBL in curricular integration. So before you sit down to work on your lesson plan, you must play by the rules, by which I mean remember the do's and the don'ts before you start. It's very important for us. We sometimes, going into a classroom without planning will never be successful. So even when you are integrating NBL into the curriculum, you must first go by the rules. So under do's, let's remember that we have to make NBL as interactive and visually stimulating as possible, because that's what makes learning fun. Incorporate digital tools like interactive whiteboards to display newspaper articles. And I'm sure all the schools are now well equipped with smart boards. So please use those digital tools to display the newspaper articles. Enhance visual stimulation by using multimedia related to articles such as videos or podcasts to complement the printed news. And you may also think of a virtual tour or a field trip. Activities should be comprehensible, engaging, and educational. Say, for example, you can create a scavenger hunt activity where students must find information in the newspaper to answer questions or solve puzzles. Now, this can cover various subjects and hence become engaging and educational. Then find articles that can be used for integrated learning with cross-curricular connections. Needless to say, the content chosen should be age-appropriate, relevant, and interesting. So for that, you must allow learners to select an article that interests them. You can try that out. You must give that autonomy in the class, because it's better if they show interest, they will work better. Then be clear on aims. Is it reading or speaking you want to practice, or both? So once you know what you really want to practice, you should be able to put it down on paper and plan your lesson. Get learners to read outside class as much as possible. So exposure to varied content is the key. And we all know that. That's why we want children to immerse in variety of reading, and not just it should not be limited to their school time, but also outside of school. Make your tasks as authentic as the material. So tasks like just underline all the verbs in the past tense, or something like just circle the ing words are of limited value. So you should use them sparingly. A little more complex thinking and application is needed when you move higher up the ladder or for higher grades. So for foundational, underlining the verbs or the noun or the sound, that works very well. But when you are looking at grades 1 to 5, the complexity has to increase little by little, step by step. Also, help learners to become better learners. If you can get your learners to regularly dip into English or Hindi newspaper or a third language reading material, then their reading skills, writing skills, and vocabulary will improve. I know there is a bit of struggle when we talk about Hindi newspaper or Marathi newspaper. I know there is a bit of struggle, but I'm sure there are children who take to reading if the content is really user-friendly, age-appropriate, and fun to read. So then let's also now talk about the don'ts of NBL. So do not make a song and dance about teaching newspaper words like headline, editorial, column, leader. So, sometimes, our creativity is limited. So this is the best we can do. But I think you should avoid making songs on headlines or something like that. Always think before, is it that useful to the learners? So before you do something, you have to reflect, sit down and understand whether this is going to help the children learn better. If not, then you should chuck it. Don't ever assume learners are interested in tabloid gossip. Okay. The type of newspaper that they read should be student friendly and age appropriate, and all your worries will be put to rest if you give them the right content to read. You will not have to prompt them, okay, sit down in a place, focus, read this, read that. If the content is age appropriate and friendly, they will read it. And also colorful, it has to be appealing also. Children like that. Please don't assume what you find interesting in a newspaper will also interest your learners. Now, this is a mistake we all do. What we do is we give them the similar kind of material to read. No. So as I told you and showed you some examples of Robin Age, The Young World. So these kind of newspapers are designed to capture attention of students. So please use that kind of material. Don't give them a regular Indian Express or the Hindu or the Business Times for them to read. And yes, this one is very important. Sometimes we get carried away and set simple tasks for lower level learners with a very difficult piece of text. Okay, so that should also not happen. For example, if you give the instruction, find 3 numbers and 2 countries in this 3-column article on the Middle East. Now, unless these, these children, these are too many instructions. So always break the instructions if you want to give multiple instructions, but keep it simple. Just go step by step. Let them finish the first step, then move on to the second. So unless these tasks are, followed up with an opportunity to comprehend and interact with the text, they're almost pointless. So keep it simple and activity-based. Now, here's a typical integrated lesson plan example for grade 3. Now, this is something which I have shared in many schools when we go for training. So the theme is farm to plate. Now, on a regular day, a teacher will teach language, which will include endless food items, talk about new food related vocabulary, talk about food items that children like to eat, read food labels, make informed food choices, understanding food marketing and advertising, and stories related to food. In KOI, on a regular day, the teacher is going to talk about food traditions, ingredients, recipes from different cultures, culinary traditions from other regions or cultures, and traditional recipes. And the world around us, teacher will talk about the plant and animal products as food sources, food chains, farming and harvesting, food groups, balanced diet, food pyramid, hygiene, proper handling of food, storage, and preventing foodborne diseases. In math, the concepts that you will cover or a teacher will cover is measuring ingredients, calculating portion sizes, and analyzing food-related data. And under STG, Children can learn about SDGs, the environmental awareness, that if we take the goal as environment awareness, children will learn about issue of food waste, strategies for reducing food consumption waste, and sensitizing students on food wastage. The real life experience could be, cooking, grocery shopping, and food tasting activities. And visual art, maybe you will, have Varley art forms, which will talk about food and the shapes, and create a package cover with a catchy tagline, visuals, and onomatopoeic words for sensory appeal. And in music, one can learn about fruits and vegetables that are used for making musical instruments or creating music using food items. So all this, when you're talking about an integrated lesson plan, this is how a teacher is going to prepare. Okay, I'm sure some of you are familiar, or some of you must be doing it. Now look at this newspaper article on intermittent fasting and dietary techniques. There is something on a balanced diet. There is about food packaging and how food is packed in a newspaper and why we should not consume because it has lead. So these are various articles that I have collected which talk about food. Now, a teacher can teach the same thematic unit, that is farm to plate, using these kinds of articles from the newspaper. I don't know if you've tried, but I have tried it and it really works beautifully. So please know that you don't have to stick to only one article or feature. You can take multiple articles or take selected or relevant portions from different newspapers under the same theme or related to the same theme and explore various concepts. So let's see how the lesson plan will differ when you do an NBL using these multiple articles. So in language, possibly you could cover topics like food hygiene, food wastage, healthy versus junk food for debate, and one can introduce concepts such as drought and food crisis based on these articles. You can cover grammar concepts by identifying parts of speech or punctuation in articles, headlines, and advertisements. You can also create a personal menu for a party as a writing exercise. Now, can you see how it is a little different from what you usually plan or put in a lesson plan? This is a little different because the focus is the newspaper here and we are not teaching by the textbook. So when we talk about knowledge of India, we explore food items in advertisements or health section. We can understand regional and cultural culinary traditions along with related recipes and concepts. In world around us, we can teach students about a balanced diet, food sources, and seed germination. We can also discuss the effects of fasting versus overeating or on body weight, or gaining weight. We can also explore seasonal foods and appropriate food combinations. So likewise, in mathematical concept, we can integrate math by measuring ingredients, calculating portion size, and analyzing food-related data provided in ads, articles, or features, which you give to your students. When we talk of SDG, we are again talking about environment awareness. We can highlight food waste issues and discuss strategies to reduce consumption waste. We can also talk about how this newspaper, which has the ink, which has lead, component, is not good for packaging food items. We can also talk about real life environmental issues like paddy stubble burning. That was going on in the past 2 years. We have read so many articles on paddy stubble burning. So you can combine that because it's an ongoing real life issue. You can combine it with your lesson plan. You can also engage them in recycling newspapers as part of the food production and consumption process. And in visual art, you can create a party invite with favorite food items and illustrations. And last, in music, learn about fruits and vegetables which are used in musical instruments and create music using food items, which remains the same as you have planned in a regular lesson plan. So now you realize how both the approaches differ, and the NBL structures the learning activities around article features and advertisements from newspaper. It also uses the newspaper as a core tool for teaching concepts across subjects, and there is so much more one learns. Do you agree? Do you think, what would you prefer? Please, if you can write your responses, what would you prefer? The NBL way of learning, and why? Yes, teachers, if I can have some responses, which one would you prefer, the NBL way or the regular lesson plan? Yes. Yes. So the NBL approach places more emphasis on the real life connections to newspaper content, making the learning process more interactive with media literacy elements. And that's why we should have more of NBL lesson plans than the regular lesson plans. So now let's check some more examples related to the same theme for foundational level. Now, if you see, this is a pic of an advertisement released on World Food Safety Day. So at the nursery level, children can be encouraged to recognize and name common objects in the image, such as the fruits, the vegetables, and utensils. If you see, there is a fork and a spoon. Okay, so these are familiar items that they can identify. So this is what you can use at nursery level. For example, a teacher can point to the image of an apple and ask the child, what is this? The child can answer, the child will answer apple. Similarly, other items like bread, cheese, or the cutlery can be identified and associated with the beginning sounds. Since you are teaching phonics at nursery level, you can relate it to the sounds. The teacher can point to the globe or the earth in the center and ask, what shape is this? The child can answer, a circle. Similarly, they might identify that the bread looks like a rectangle or a cheese resembles a triangle. In the same manner, teacher can question about pattern, colors, and quantity of objects. What can interest the students is to sort the objects based on color, shape, size, or type. So either you can provide them with the cutouts of the items which are shown in the ad, or you can just randomly orally ask, okay, what patterns do you see? How can you sort them out based on their color, shape, and size? So exposure to basic concepts of direction can also be covered by helping children understand spatial relationships. So, they could possibly learn left, right, to the right of the circle, to the left of the circle, or the globe. You can talk about the top and bottom for, more basic directional learning. So if you see, so many things can be integrated when you are showing one ad to a nursery group of students. You're covering so many concepts. In the next example for junior KG, you will notice I have taken an article on the same theme. Now, on your right is the section which can be used for the NBL, not the entire article. I'm just taking this portion. So the teacher can cover all these concepts through this article. For example, the teacher can ask questions about naming food items, their color, shape, number of layers. Now, this is a picture of a burger, as we all can see. So the teacher can talk about how many number of layers the burger has. Then identifying food items in a particular sequence from top to bottom or bottom to the top. And of course, common words that children learn to recognize by sight in junior KG can also be identified. As we move to senior KG, you will notice that the complexity of the text has jumped, right? As children have far richer vocabulary at this age, so you can actually use the NBL very effectively. For example, here the teacher can ask, what do you need to start with when making a salad? Now, after the teacher has read the article or the children have read the article, the teacher can begin like this. What do you need in the beginning when you make a salad? child should be able to answer vegetables or something related, or maybe a bowl. Children may say just a bowl, so, or a knife. So based on the context of the article. So the students can be introduced to new vocabulary like scrumptious, crunchy, foundation, and some new food items also, like the dressing, the tofu, and baked. So there are so many, if you read the article, you will realize there are many new words that the children of senior KG can pick up. So students then can be asked to identify the words with blend sounds and digraphs. For example, the word crunchy contains the cr blend and cheese contains the ch digraph. So this is how you can actually, use this article to help children identify what they are learning in the class. Similarly, words with either long or short vowel sounds. For example, the word salad has a short F sound, while side has a long E sound. Okay. So, and likewise, teacher can teach grammar concepts of nouns, adjectives, verbs, and antonyms. So if you read the article, there are antonyms like light and heavy, crunchy and soft, healthy and unhealthy, more and less, slim and fat, fresh and stale. So this is such a rich, vocabulary which children can benefit from if they go through such articles in the class. So to understand quantities and numbers in the context of the same article, making a salad, children can count the number of vegetables they add. For instance, how many tomatoes or onions, carrots or cucumber slices are there in the salad. Or let's count how many leaves of lettuce we have used for making this salad. The teacher can also explain how to prepare a salad in steps. So first, put the lettuce in the bowl, then add the tomatoes, and then add various other vegetables, followed by the dressing at the end. Now, this introduces the idea of sequential order, which we also teach in senior KG. And it's a concept of process like addition or, subtraction. So when we are teaching addition in senior KG, some of the schools do. So they understand how the processes work. Similarly, students can also learn phrases like more and less in maths when describing the amounts of salad dressing or vegetables. We all know that estimating and measuring quantities is a crucial math skill which children need to develop. So this teaches students how to judge proportions and amounts even without precise measurements. So this is the skill of estimation. So the teacher can say, let's add a small amount of dressing and, oh, look at the big pile of vegetables we have. Something like this to give them an idea, which helps children estimate sizes and understand portions. They can also learn terms like half or whole while discussing slices of vegetables. So, or while discussing serving, or helping. Okay, I just need half a spoon. I just need half a bowl. Okay, give me a full plate, So half or full or whole can also be taught through this. In EVS or World Around Us, a teacher can cover nutrition basics. For example, the teacher can explain that vegetables in a salad are rich in vitamins and minerals, which help children grow strong and healthy. Eating colorful vegetables like carrots and spinach gives you vitamins that help your eyes and body stay healthy. So using the salad ingredients mentioned in the article, the teacher can ask the child to sort the items also, like which are the vegetables, sort them. Okay, which are the animal products, eggs or shrimp, which is their part of the article. So for healthy eating habits, the teacher can emphasize the idea of moderation, explaining if we use too much dressing, it can make the salad less healthy because it has a lot of fat and oil. So we should use a small amount of dressing and a big pile of veggies for a healthy salad. So the teacher can ask, what makes a meal very healthy? Why should we eat more veggies and fewer fatty foods like fried items? Something like that. So any food is a vast topic. I mean, so much a teacher can do in the class. So you decide basis on what your children are ready to learn. You should have that in the classroom. So all in all, it's a pretty fun way to learn and explore the concept or theme through language, numbers, and world around us. So to sum it up, foundational level teachers can teach and explore the following concepts in nursery, junior, and senior KG through newspaper-based learning. So in nursery, language skills include phonic sounds, picture reading, identifying objects, decoding colors, related sounds with objects. In number skills, you can include identifying numbers, quantifying, matching numbers, identifying shapes and patterns. And WA will include identifying things they see around and consume or use. So this is basically what you can cover through NBL in nursery level. When you come to junior KG, in language skill, it will comprise of phonic sounds, identifying objects, CVC words, sight words, decoding short sentences, headlines, ads, or titles. And in number skills, you can do identifying two-digit numbers, quantifying objects, pre-math concepts, identifying shapes and patterns, and doing comparisons. In WAU, you can talk about forming healthy eating habits to stay healthy. And if your article is on some other theme, then the WA will change accordingly. In senior KG, in the language skills, students will learn to identify familiar and unfamiliar words, sight words, decode long sentences, that is the headlines mainly, read fluently with comprehension. See, a regular newspaper has a very small print. So it is advisable that you only stick to the headlines or subtopics or subheadings when you are dealing with lower level grades. So in WAU, students can learn facts about food and understand the implications of healthy and unhealthy eating habits. So all in all, this is what you can cover in nursery, junior, senior. Now let's see a few more examples. But before that, let us have some interaction. Now here are two images from a newspaper. On the left is an advertisement, and on the right are a few games that are part of the newspaper. So my question to you all is, and you may type your responses in the chat box, which concepts can you cover based on what you see on your screen? What all concepts? Just small phrases, don't write long sentences. So just write, yeah, numeracy, yes, of course, numbers, yes, lots of them. Counting skills, yes. Logical thinking, very nice, interesting. Yes, logical thinking. Mathematics with calculation, missing numbers, addition, yes. Sorting and grouping, very good. So I'm talking about concepts. Just don't write numeracy. Numeracy, I know, is a skill, but what concepts can you cover under numeracy? Like addition or subtraction or something like that, or matching. Yes, language, spellings, percentage. Oh, maybe not for the smaller grades, but yes, definitely for higher grades. Number recognition, letter recognition. Yes, problem solving. Yes, place value. Abacus. Small and big, yes, concept of smaller number, larger number. Classification, word puzzles, quiz. Oh my God. Yes, ascending and descending orders. So you see how much can you do with just this one small article. I mean, there is no limit to creativity. If you put your minds together, you people are all fantastic teachers. You have the mind and ability to do so much more in the classroom. So please, teachers, if this is what, if these are your responses, visual perception and patterns, yes. Putting the correct sign, yes. So yes, I know, thank you for your responses, but all I'm saying is use it. Take it into your classrooms and you will have fun. So now moving, let's look at some more examples. This is how Baroda Times page can be used in nursery level. Okay, so a teacher can ask the students to draw a red circle around the big capital or Mama A. Okay, some of us we say name of the letter, some of us say the uppercase or a capital letter or the big letter, big A. So you can ask the children to circle that, identify and circle it with a red color or any other color. So you are checking two things: if they can identify the color and if they can associate that with the letter. Then you can ask them, draw a green square around the number 10. You can also ask students to count the number of 8s that are there on the page, or how many 5s can they see on the page. So these are some of the ideas that I'm giving you. You can probably do it when you sit with a newspaper like this with your nursery students. You may also ask students to circle letters B and D in a headline to see if the children are confused or are they struggling with mirror image issue. So B and D, sometimes P and Q, G and P, G and Y. Now these are certain letters which trouble some of the children. So you can take this headline to just basically just assess, see what the idea is, that we have to make sure that our children are also exposed to unfamiliar script and text. So if they're used to looking at their textbook every day, they know this is B because somewhere it is there in their memory and they have kind of learned, or it's in their picture memory that after S sound, there is B sound. They may not be able to relate to the letter on its own if it's given in an unfamiliar script. So it's very important for all you teachers to make sure that you give them unfamiliar text and ask them to circle the letters where you feel as a teacher they might goof up, right? In the next example, you can test the literacy skills and observation skills of nursery students. Now ask kids to circle. Okay. Yeah, so ask kids to circle all the letters of the English alphabet in the title line, which is small or uppercase, in a particular sequence. If you read, so if you can quickly read the headline, Danny, Saab and I are more than brothers and our friendship will never change. Jackie. Now, quickly tell me which all letters are there and which all letters, or rather, which all letters are missing. Which are the letters which are not there? Z, correct. Z is not there. X is not there. C is there. Change. C is there in change. Priyanka ji. Q, W, Y, yes. L and I are there. Yes, Y, correct. See, there are few letters missing. Rest all, this is a very interesting heading, because it covers mostly all the letters and sounds, but only 4 are missing. Q, X, Y, okay, Z. So, yes, so you can give this kind of a sentence wherein children have to figure out which all letters are missing. Okay, now this is a little complex for them. They can identify which all are there. Okay, then you move on to the next step, which are missing. And to check their observation skill, ask the students to spot the difference between the two men in the image. Now, can you see? Can you spot the difference? It's easy. One of them has mustache, the other doesn't have it. These are the kind of exercises you can do. I'm sure you're doing it in the class, but all I'm saying is use a newspaper instead, because that will make them more familiar with the resource. Okay, and they will start reading the newspaper early in life because they are so used to using it in the classroom. The next example of NBL can be used for all foundational stage levels, that is nursery to grade 2. Now here is a close-up of the text that a teacher may use for assessing the learning. No cutting, chopping, grating, kneading, or kitchening, only chilling, sleeping, scrolling, binging, and weekending. Now, this was a fun, text which we saw in the newspaper. So, if you remember, I said assessment of learning. So, in nursery, a teacher may ask students to circle G sound, as some children may end up circling Y, Y sound, right? So this is how you may be getting more ideas, but this is what I thought of. So this is one of the examples. You can probably think of more. In junior and senior, this is what this is what you can assign to your students. Identify 3-letter words. Identify inwards, upwards, atwards, upwards. When I say inwards, in can be, you can specify it further, whether it is in the middle or it is at the end or it is in the beginning. So that kinds you can also do. I'm just giving you an idea, but this is the range of, task that you can give to your students. In grades 1 and 2, the task assigned could be identify ing words. Which are the ing words? Okay, which are the meaningful words? Which are the not meaningful, meaningless words? Okay, nonsensical or sensical words. Convert them to simple action words, like cutting will become cut, chopping will become chop. So now this is what we don't do. We teach them cut becomes cutting, but we don't tell them how cutting can become cut. So this is a wonderful example where you can actually ask students to talk about the main verb. Then also, of course, finding blend words is something that can be easily done by grades 1 and 2 students. So yes, this is all what you can cover in from nursery to grade 2. In the next example, you would see how a teacher can use the advertisement for exploring number concepts like smallest and largest number, less than, greater than, between numbers, arranging in ascending or descending order, row-wise, column-wise, diagonal addition sums, subtraction, and multiplication quizzes. Isn't this interesting? I'm sure we never thought of it earlier. We would always give them those typical textbooks, but this is so much fun. Something unfamiliar where you actually apply the knowledge that you gain in your classroom. The next slide has a page from the Hindu Young World with news from the world of tennis, which has a scope for exploring emotions, clothing and accessories, and play equipment with your students. Okay, so this is what you can explore. The next slide has news about weekend getaways and adventure trips. Now, such news items are a great fun to read for world around us, as these can be used for identification or naming items, objects, life forms. It's also about learning GK about various places, exploring what kids can do during their weekend offs. Now, I want to show you a very interesting image now, which talks about the state's first fire insurance company. Okay, so now if you focus on the image only, you can ask so many questions to the students of grades 1 to 5, such as, what is happening here? Where do you think the accident began? Is this a city or a village? How can you tell? Who seems to be in command? Where is the fire tender? Does it look the same as the fire tender you see today? So let me ask you all, how is this way of questioning helping children? Please write your responses in the chat box. How is this way of asking questions helping children? Descriptive writing. Observation, yes. Picture talk, yes. Observation skills, correct. Okay. Helping them to concentrate and focus. Okay. And analyzing what is happening in the picture. It increases their vocabulary, yes. But how are these questions helping them? Yes, developing thinking skills. Critical thinking, absolutely, yes. It also makes them aware. So let me give you story building, yes. Communication. So let me give you my bit of the explanation. So the questions, so first question, which is, what is happening here, will encourage children to observe the image closely and think critically about what might have occurred. Correct? Some of you answered that. Questions like, is this a city or a village? How can you tell? Help students distinguish between different environments and settings based on visual elements. The presence of traditional clothing or the type of building architecture might lead the children to deduce that it is a village setting, helping them connect visuals to real life locations and their characteristics. Because if they have seen the people in dhoti kurta in villages, in nearby villages, they'll be able to figure out, okay, this kind of an attire is only seen in a village setting. Then asking who seems to be in command can help children understand the concept of roles and responsibilities in society. And who is in command here in this picture? Who is there? If I can have the answer. Officer, absolutely correct. The officer is in command. So he is giving directions. What should happen? Okay. Then the question, does the fire tender look the same as the fire tender you see today? Encourages children to think about how technology has evolved over time. This helps students understand technological progress and the importance of innovation. So the fire trucks earlier were like this. So there was hardly any truck. It's more like a wheelbarrow where water is being pumped out. But now the fire trucks are so fancy. So they understand how times have changed, how technology has progressed and innovation has happened. Then asking, what do you think will happen next, can prompt children to use their imagination to predict outcomes, encouraging creative thinking, as one of you wrote. So, and of course, such activities will enhance children's language along with visual literacy. Okay, so that is very important. So thank you, teachers, for your responses. So now let's move on to a very interesting article in Robin Age, which can be used in grades 4 or 5 for NBL, depending on the standard of your school or class. So it could be 4 or 5. So the article is about saving our bees, which sounds like a WAU topic. But today I'm going to talk about how this article can be used for cross-curricular learning. So let's see in language. Reading comprehension will cover read the article and summarize the key points. But please take the screenshots, teachers, because this is what you can actually use. This, you may not use the same article, but you can use the cues that I'm giving you for framing another lesson plan or drafting another lesson plan. So in language, based on the article that is on your screen, you can have the students read it and summarize it just point-wise. You can also help them write persuasive writing, which is writing a persuasive essay on why people should take action to save bees. In vocabulary, focus on new terms from the article like pollination, biodiversity, and ecosystem. In mathematics, you can talk about statistics, what is the current population of the bees in your city or in your state. Then problem solving, calculating how planting certain numbers of bee-friendly plants could impact the local bee population. The next is WAU, wherein you can have a discussion on pollinators. Explain the role of bees in pollination and the importance of pollinators in ecosystems. In life science, you can talk about study the life cycle of a bee, understanding how bees grow from eggs to adults, and the different roles within a bee colony. In conservation, you can discuss the reasons behind the decline in bee populations and the environmental impact this has. In climate change, you can talk about how changes in the environment are affecting bee populations worldwide. In art, you can create posters, design posters to spread awareness about saving bees. In the bee art, you can draw or craft bees and their habitats. So the next is physical education. Now, in physical education, we need not only talk about exercising or outdoor, we can also talk about nutrition. Discuss the role of honey in nutrition and how bees contribute to the food we eat. Under outdoor awareness, teach outdoor safety and respect for nature, including how to behave if they encounter bees. So sometime back, there was a news that I read, that one girl who was driving in Baroda, in our city, that one girl who was driving a mobike was attacked by this swarm of bees, and she was in a bad condition. So I think we should also talk about, when we're talking about physical education, we can also talk about how can we keep ourselves safe from such kind of incidences. In music and performing arts, we can compose a song or a rap about bees and their importance. And in drama, we can put on a play depicting the life of bees and the challenges they face. Remember, there was a bee movie also. So yes, you can show that movie to your kids, and that could be the hook for your lesson, saving the bees. So teachers, does this approach of learning seems exciting? If it does, how do you think, so just share, what is the difference that you see in the lesson plan that you make and this one? If you have to talk about bees in your science lesson, or in retrospect, just think how we kill curiosity in the classroom when we open the book and read a lesson on insects. So if you have to do this, it's playful, yes, it's exciting as they come to know much more than what is in the book. Absolutely true. There's so much more. It's fun. There's visuals. Students will be self-motivated. Absolutely. You will not have to push them. The discussion can lead to more questions. Yes, that builds curiosity. And that's how you explore more about the topic. You generate more vocabulary. Very interesting. So I'm sure when you are designing your lesson plan, you are also children are also learning new vocabulary. But how is it different from yours? Okay, is it something different? Do you think it's this is possible in your classroom? You can work like this. Yes, it encourages teamwork and collaboration. Absolutely, you can do so much more. When you collaborate children, you can give them different topics. You can do research work. I think research is something which we need to teach us students. It's a very important skill that they need to learn right from lower grades. So yes, if you give such kind of topics, you just have to ask them questions, and it becomes like an inquiry-based learning where you are asking questions, you're generating responses. Learning will happen along with teaching. Absolutely. Yes, wonderful. Thank you, Smita ma'am. You are on the right path. Yes, children can be exposed to current affairs. Obviously, yes. You're going to ask them to get the maths. For maths, they have to collect data. They have to talk about the current population and what was the population earlier. Why is it diminishing? Why are there changes in the numbers? Absolutely true. So children will learn so much more when you teach in this way. So I'm hoping, please make a promise that you will do it. Let this session not go waste. Please take whatever you can soak in, take it to your classroom, and that is what we want you to do. So see, not all topics can be taught like this. Yeah, I must share that not all topics can be taught like this, but you must identify the ones which can be taught in the NBL way. So you have to look for that opportunity. You have to be aware. You have to be very, very aware to know, okay, these are the topics. So before you start the next term, now you're starting the next term. So before you start the next term, you can just sit down and see, okay, which are the topics which I can cover through NBL and not have it in the mundane, boring way from the textbook. So do prior planning, sit down, identify. Yes, you will definitely incorporate. Thank you, Sapna ma'am. Thank you so much. It's very reassuring. So, and yes, students will have a long-term impression of their learning. So right, so right. I'm so happy you've got it right. So yes, not all topics you have to, draft like this, but identify some. Now, I'm sure all of you teach butterfly cycle. Okay, so take it into the classroom. Just look for research for some articles which are there on butterflies, or take a magazine also. I know I'm here talking about the newspaper, but I'm also talking about unfamiliar text. So take something, take an article and on butterfly and explore it like this. Okay. So now if you have taken the screenshots, you know how you can plan that topic. Now we move on to a very important section. That is implementation of NBL. Okay. So before you start implementing NBL in your school, you must take these 3 points into consideration. Now that you have made a promise that you are all taking it into the classroom, please make sure that you do it the right way. Okay. So before you start implementing, you must remember about 3 points, which are sourcing, measuring impact, and a resource kit. Now, what is sourcing? Sourcing is about selecting a variety of newspapers for varied content and range of perspectives. Consider both text complexity and visual elements for diverse learners. Now, for example, a teacher might select a mix of newspapers like TOI's NIE, Young World, or Indian Express to expose students to both mainstream national news and more localized issues. Additionally, newspapers with infographics or illustrations would be suitable for younger or visual learners, while more text-heavy options could challenge advanced readers. So a teacher must know which source best suits the students and the activity. Now, also I want to impress upon a point that you can also take varied newspaper articles different on the same topic. Like I had shown you in the food theme. So farm to plate. There were 4-5 articles. So you can take 4-5. You can divide the group in a certain way where children who can really crack the complex task can be given that a little complex article, but the simple ones can remain with the rest of the groups. Groups have to be balanced, of course, but make sure the smarter ones get the complex article. Or complex article, by complex I mean something which has a little more than what they know, or some new vocabulary, or it has a little more content, okay, rather than pictures or visuals. So you can divide your group like that, and you can distribute the right kind of article to the right kind of the group. Okay, so that is sourcing. Now, when I talk about measuring impact, before starting newspaper-based learning, students can be given a pre-assessment to evaluate their current comprehension, critical thinking, and language skills. Now, as teachers, we all know there are topics which are there right from, suppose, water, or water or plants, plant life. Okay, it's there in grade 1 also, it's there in grade 8 also. So now, you already know that the children come to you with a certain background, okay, knowledge of that topic. They already have pre-knowledge. So before you start this, you have to evaluate their current knowledge and the language skills. After completing the NBL activities, a post-assessment is done to measure how much they have improved in these areas. So it's very important. So if you have assessed them before, then you also have to assess them post, so that you as a teacher know, okay, this is where they were, and now this is where they have reached. Okay, so this is currently, they're armed with this kind of knowledge. So this will help you understand the effectiveness of using newspapers in teaching and how much students have benefited from the activities. And it's okay if you fail, if you don't see any progress or much progress and you're not happy, it's absolutely fine. But you have to try. It's okay to try. Okay, it's okay to try and fail. This was our latest reel that was there on the Instagram, where I say it's okay to fail, but it's not okay to not trying. Okay, so you must try and see how effective this newspaper learning is. So when you reflect on this, if it's not successful, then you have to think again, was the topic not appropriate? Maybe you could have taken other topic, or it was something else. So you have to think what really did not work. Then we come to the resource kit. A resource kit would include a curated list of websites where teachers can find relevant newspaper articles for their students. And this kit would also include lesson plans that integrate these articles into various subjects. So it's very important that you create a resource pool, online resource pool, where your teachers can access that, have an access. So each school can have their own. So you can dump all the information there, and teachers can basically access that information whenever they need. And there are times, so if this year I have done something on saving the bees, all the information should be there. So next year, the teacher can use the same information or create something else or change it something, change it a little, and also put that into archive that also. So that becomes a resource pool where all can, the teachers who are not part of you now, but they will take over your class, they can have an access to that. Now I will share some very interesting strategies you may use for implementing NBL in an effective manner. Now here are 10 strategies which will appear in the order of simple to complex, which obviously means that the simple ones can be implemented in the foundational stage and the rest are for the preparatory stage. You will also notice that when you implement these strategies, it should promote LSRW skills. What are LSRW skills? Teachers, if you could write. Yes, what is LSRW skills? Listening, speaking, yes. R would be reading, yes. And W is writing. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Yes, so we must make sure when we are using these strategies in our classrooms, we have to promote the LSRW skills. Thank you for your responses, teachers. So the first strategy, there are 10. So I'm going to start with the first one. The first one is go for it, where students effectively skim and scan for information. Instant time, so you this children will have to. Now this is for lower level. Now tell me, which all levels do you think it is appropriate for? This could be used for which levels? I think nursery, if I'm not mistaken. Nursery to grade 2 easily. It's a simple task. Yes, pre-primary. So we will talk about the foundational level. Yes, pre-primary. So this is where we can, yes, grade 2, of course, of course. See, for grade 2, you can make it a little more complex. You can ask them to identify words which they don't, or images which they don't commonly see. Okay, but make sure that you use the, yes, nursery, of course, yes. So make sure that you use the headlines for grade 1 and 2 or sub-headlines, okay, subheadings. So yes, so you may check out the images of news content which you can use for such activity. I have given 3 images. So this is one. This is the second one. Now you see there is Ganesha, there is, there is Ganesha, then there is a doctor, there are books, there are titles of stories, storybooks. So there is the third one wherein you also see a lot of other things, you know, vegetable, a child, or books, or some kind of tools. So a child on phone, a little girl on the phone. So you have to give them various. So if you are doing it, you don't have to give the same article to the children. We also tend, as teachers, we are, you know, creatures of habit. We tend to give the same thing to all the students. So let's not do that. What we can do is we can have multiple different copies. Okay. Okay. One portion, one page, you can have half portion to this child. The other half goes to the child sitting next to him or her. Okay. This makes the game more interesting. Okay. And challenging, of course. So you can either give one group one or the other group other, or you can give it individually. If you give it group wise, it is better because, you know, taking out so many printouts is obviously difficult, and we are also very conscious of the environment, so we don't want to waste a lot of paper. Yes. So the second one is the secret pal, wherein students draft writing that conveys a sense of completeness. I don't know if we have ever played this in the school, but if you allow your children to do that, it will be fun. It does develop a lot of language skills. Now, what you have to do is you have to have students pretend they have a secret pal in the class. Okay, they will say my best friend. They will obviously come up with their best friend, but you can talk about the word. You can introduce the word secret pal in senior KG or junior KG. Grade 1, of course, they know the secret, the meaning of the word secret. So use the words from the headlines in the newspaper to create a friendly message for their pal. Okay, they can cut out the words and paste the message on a piece of paper, or they can just choose the words and write the message on the paper. Now, teachers, why I have written friendly messages, because I don't want children to take the negative words and put it into a message, I hate you or I don't like you. We don't want that kind of. So secret pal has to be a friend that they like, and like not in that sense that they are pally with. So they have to cut out the words, put it into a meaningful sentence, as you can see in the picture, and then they have to send that secret message to the. And also, please have one for yourself, okay? So you can also tell one of the child to write a secret message to you, okay? And you can do the same for that child. After that, once they give the message, you read out what they have shared. You read out what they have shared with each other and see if that can be such an easy way of assessing the sentence construction or the parts of speech for grades 1 and 2. Okay. So this is how you can assess it, instead of making them write a sentence or giving them a worksheet and asking them, okay, now let me check your worksheets. No, this can be a fun way to assess their sentence construction. Next is the hunting nouns. Now, this requires students to correctly identify parts of speech nouns and their types. Types are the person, place, animal, thing. Now, we used to play that a lot. When I was a kid in school, I used to play that a lot. You know, in the free period or the proxy period, I would always sit down to play name, place, animal, thing. Who is the fastest or the quickest? And I'm sure you would have also gone through that stage. So what you have to do is you have to review the definition of a noun in video class. Then you have them select a story from any page of the newspaper and ask them to find the nouns. Okay. Once they underline, once they have identified the nouns, they can underline the people they find in red or circle them in red, the places in blue, things in green, and animals in brown or orange and whatever color. Color here is not important. You can decide how you want, what you want, but this is how you can do it. You can also, help. You can also ask the children of at least grades 1, senior KG or grade 1, to write a P for the person, and for place, you can ask them to write PL. For things, you can ask them to write O for objects or TH for things. And for animals, they can write A. So instead of keeping it red, blue, green for lower levels, you can also ask them to write a code. Okay, the code could be the letters. Then make a list of nouns under separate types. Now, since there are different types of nouns, they can make a list of nouns under these types or headings given and provide students with labels or sticky notes to write down nouns they find in the classroom and school. So this is something else. Once you have finished the article, you can also tell them to add on to that list by looking at what is there in their classroom or in the school. So that can also be done. Okay. So suppose there is an article where you haven't found too many names or articles. So what happens? Okay, there was no animal in or any bird in the article. So you can ask them, okay, see around, or what you see in your school, you can type in that, write in that. Now, this is a worksheet sample that you can refer to. Yeah. See how it has been designed. There is hunting nouns. That's the name of the activity. The instruction is given. You can write people, places, things, and you can have the creative piece also, creating a story using those words. That is very important. That's a higher level thing. When you create something, you know, you're reaching the highest level of Bloom's taxonomy. So creating a story using the word that they have identified from the article is very, very crucial, which you can obviously do in the class. And I'm sure you know which are the students who would be interested in doing. So you must try that out. In sports glossary, students use a variety of ways to analyze and learn new words. So have students select an article from the sports section. As they skim the story, they can make a list of vocabulary words that are used in the sport section. You may ask them to write a definition for each word and draw a picture to illustrate what the word means. This can be done for grades 3 to 5. Okay. They can add any other words they can think of that also have to do with the sport, but that do not appear in the article. See, when they fall short of some words, whatever in their experience they have learned, you can ask them to write that down or document it. So here are a few samples of the word list or sports glossary, along with a worksheet that a teacher would use to assess the vocabulary learned. So first is cricket. Now see, what the number of words that you can talk of, the glossary, it's very, very rich. So these are the kind of words that the children can pick out from the article. Then is the basketball. Of course, basketball, we all schools have a basketball court, and I'm sure children know basic bounce, dribbling, block, drop, D, this, that. So this is the basic vocabulary. So see, this is what we forget is, this is especially for the sports teacher, or if you're there listening to me, you only limit yourself to a physical activity. But you don't need to. You have to, when you say it, children learn it. But this is something that you can give out to your students. You can have this glossary ready and you can give it out. So once the child is learning if the child is learning the game for the first time, the child already knows, okay, these are the words which I've heard, these are part of this game, and this is what it means. So it becomes easier for the children to relate to the words and understand what it means when it is called out. Similarly, there is a glossary for football also. Yes, football. Yes, penalty area, penalty spot, penalty kick, halfway line. Oh, children are a huge fan, especially boys are a huge fan of football. So yes, this is what will help them to understand the sport better. And then last, we see a worksheet. Now, once they have learned this, sports teachers, with the help of language teachers, maybe you can use, design this kind of a worksheet where you are assessing their knowledge of the glossary that they have learned, the vocabulary that they have learned for a particular sport. So if you can see, I think it is, you can read, there are very interesting, you can take a screenshot and maybe use it in your classroom for assessing their knowledge of vocabulary, sport vocabulary. Yes. So now, the fifth strategy is weekly newsletter. Now, if you notice, the progression is moving upwards. So now this can be done for higher grades. Okay. So that is from grades 2 to 5 or 1 to 5 also. One, only if the children are really smart and they are reading newspapers, you can do it in grade 1. Otherwise, 2 to 5, you can easily do it. So wherein students use newspapers to develop weekly highlights and organize written information with visual support. So tell students that they are in charge of a planning cover for an important weekly newsletter. So planning a cover for an important weekly newsletter. So cover page, when I say cover, it's a cover page for their weekly newsletter. I'm sure some of the schools already have it, but those who are not doing it, this is something that you can implement in your schools. They can look through the newspapers for the 5 articles during the week that they think would be best for their newsletter. So whatever they have read during the week, it could be Robin Age, Young World, something which is child friendly. They can select the 5 best ones to put it in their newsletter. They will then design the cover, including titles that will make people want to read the articles. Okay, so you have to make sure that the titles are very, very appealing. Then add pictures that will catch readers' attention. And I have just put a pic of a template that the students can design. You can be more creative also. I'm sure all children are learning MS Word, PowerPoint, or Canva in grades 5 at least, 4 and 5 at least. So paintbrush. So you can get more creative than this if your students know how to integrate their IT skills with this activity. So try this out. I'm sure you will enjoy it. The next one is before and after. Now, in before and after, students create a story in which ideas and details are presented in a logical order. So, have students find a photograph first in the newspaper which interests them. This is very important. It has to be interesting for them, not for us, as I said. Okay, what generally appeals to us may not appeal them. Instruct them to think about what is going on in the picture. Okay, that is very important. Again, you're working on their observation skill and imagination. Have them explain what they think happened just before the picture was taken and predict what they believe will happen afterwards. Imagine how interesting. I think you will also enjoy this kind of an activity. But if we had an offline session, I would have done that with you. If you notice, there's a girl in the middle with her mother holding shopping bags, right? Now, this picture interested me, so I have selected this one. So let's do the before and after story with keeping this picture in mind. So see what I drafted. Early one sunny Saturday morning, little Mia and her mom, Sarah, planned a special day out. Mia had been dreaming of buying a new storybook and some art supplies. Quickly, she donned her favorite white dress, grabbed her piggy bank, and with a wide smile told her mom, "Let's go shopping." As they reached the bustling mall, Mia's eyes sparkled when she visited Shopper's Stop. She picked up clothes, shoes, and some gifts for her friend's birthday. Now, this is something I'm assuming would have happened before the picture. Now, can you relate to the picture? This, I'm sure you agree this would have happened. And then now she's asking for more. After this picture, what I believe will happen, excitedly, Mia will pull her mom into the next store, which is Crossword. Inside, they would see a row of books and art materials. They will pick out Mia's favorite book. After careful consideration, Mia will choose a glittery notebook and a set of crayons along with her prized princess book. At the checkout, Sarah will pay up for the shopping, and on their way out, Mia will lively chatter about drawing her own princess stories which will fill the air. The day will end with an ice cream and lots of laughter. This is how you can have fun with imagination and creative writing in your class. Isn't it? I think this is very doable in the classroom, and I'm sure your children are going to enjoy it. You don't have to, in grade 1 or 2, if you want, you can have them just write 2 or 3 sentences. Don't have them write a very long story or a passage. Just tell them to write small passages. And in grades 3, 4, 5, well, sky is the limit. But yes, you give them a word limit so that you can restrict them. Okay, this activity doesn't become like a never ending. Yes, thank you. Yes, it was expressive. Thank you so much for the compliment. The next one is comic reflections, where students identify details and use information to construct meaning and make inferences. So have students look through the comic strips in the newspaper for a character who is most like them, something that they can relate to. They can make a list of things they have in common as well as the differences that they have. After analyzing the character, students create their own comic strip featuring a character based on themselves. We must remember there are some very good artists in our classrooms. So we should also give them that opportunity to explore and express themselves. Then organize a debate or role play where students must defend their character's action in a particular strip or scenario. You can see the sample of the worksheet that you may use for the activity. Okay, so you can see how I have put down the headings. Under that, you can ask them to fill it up. Next is on sale. Now, on sale is a strategy in which students use writing process effectively for persuasion. Okay, we have also discussed persuasive essay writing during the bees, Save Our Bees article. So you can again do this, but the theme would be on sale. So display ads are found throughout the newspaper. Nowadays, I think newspapers are more about advertisements than the content or information. So and all these display ads, they are large, they have big pictures and very big fonts. So have them identify an ad that catches their attention. Okay, so it has to be interesting again for them. Have them write a paragraph telling whether or not they think it's a good ad. So first of all, the questions that you can ask is, how did it catch their eye? Was it the colors, the size of the ad, the images used, or the large fonts? What is the ad promoting? How clearly is the product or service described? What would they change about it to make it even better? Also, you can introduce a new word, USP, that is unique selling point. At least in grade 4 and 5, they will definitely understand, because I think they're used to a lot of competitions, making ads. At least we used to have it in our school days, where we had to design an ad, we were given a product, we had to curate an ad and then present it. So the teachers would also judge us on the ability of expressing the USP of the product. Okay, so this is something which you can introduce them to, and then have a group of students create a display ad to sell something. You can see how these 3 ads are different, and you can ask the students to identify their USP, these 3 ads, in the 3 ads. Okay, you ask them, okay, what do you think is the USP for these 3 ads? So something like that. So that's when you will understand if they have got the concept of USP, right? Next, we come to mind mapping, the 9th strategy, which determines the main idea and relevant details in a given passage. So there is an article. So assign students to choose an article from the newspaper that they think is interesting. They can write down the main idea in a few words in the center of a piece of paper. Okay, so obviously when you are doing it on the board, it has to be in the center, because the map has to expand outwards. Then they will write down some details that support the main idea, making it look like a mind map. Encourage students to use colors, symbols, and pictures in their mind maps. It's okay to use pictures. If they cannot draw, they can put a picture. Assign different roles to students, such as fact checker, illustrator, and researcher, to encourage a deeper analysis and diverse contribution. See, this is the terminology that you need to use when you are doing a mind map activity. Fact checker, illustrator, researcher. Okay? Just see the full-blown article in the next slide. Okay? Now, when you give this for mind mapping, this is how it will translate into a mind map. See, this is a very simple one. There is stay healthy, stay fit in the center, because that's the theme of the article. Okay. Then it will branch out into physical health, psychological health, nutritional health, physical fitness, healthy habits. Now, these are all core ideas which are part of this article. Under physical health, there is this article talks about appearance and essential nutrients. So it goes under physical health. Under psychological health, we have patience and composure. Nutritional health talks about having a balanced diet. Physical fitness talks about cardio, strength training, and core stability. And the last is the healthy habits, which talks about an array of things which are staying hydrated, washing hands, maintaining hygiene, regularly exercising, intake of nutrients, sleeping soundly, and on time. So this is how you can take this mind mapping. I'm sure you're also doing it, but this is very simple, which you can also do it in foundational and preparatory stages. Okay, especially grades 1, 2, 3. Senior KG can also do, but very simple ones, where there is something in the center and only 1, 2, or 3 spokes. Okay. So yes, so that's mind mapping for you. So this is how students can do simple mind mapping and may integrate this activity with their IT learning. So because they are learning flowchart and shapes and all, so they can go to their computer class. You can actually integrate it with the computer class. or the computer teacher can pick up the topic and teach them the mind mapping like this. So this is the ninth strategy. And now we come to our final last strategy, which is newspaper-based photo stories. So please watch, I'm not going to stop talking. Please watch the video of how we had used this strategy in one of the sessions with the students in our school. And this is very interesting. So we've changed the names, but that's okay. That's not really important. So with this, we come to the conclusion, and then after that, we will have the conclusion. So let us watch the video on newspaper-based photo stories.
And now for the icing on the cake, newspaper-based picture or photo stories. We took this issue of a national daily. We then identified and handed out articles that had photographs to the kids. The students were then given very specific instructions of what to do with this activity. The first thing they had to do was remove the article, caption or title against each photograph. Then they had to select the photos that interested them and they had to think of a storyline around the photos. Thereafter, they were to arrange and paste the photos in accordance with the flow of their story. Finally, they were asked to add the story's textual paragraphs against or under the photos and add a suitable title. These are some of the results using newspaper-based picture or photo stories. The first one is a prose. It is called Fast and Furious and it has been written by a child in grade 4. As you can see, the child has used some of the photographs from the array of photos given to them. The child has also fitted in his storyline against the photos, which as you can see is built around what he would like to do as a vacation dream. The story flows on and you can see that the child has added many other photographs which are part of the bundle handed out to him. This is how children can use newspaper-based photo stories. In this second sample, which is a poetry, we will first see what the photographs are that the child has placed. There is another on the last page as well. This child, who's from grade 5, has decided to write a poetry around these photographs. And as you can see, the poetry starts from what the world was and what we have become. And that's why the child has decided to call it Wake Up World. This child has taken the photographs and wrapped it around the theme that it is time for human beings to wake up. So USF educators, good luck with your journey of newspaper-based learning.
Yes. So I hope you enjoyed these 10 strategies. Now it's time for conclusion and takeaways. We have just 20 minutes to go. So I'm going to talk about the takeaways that you need to remember, you need to keep in mind. First is, whenever you plan an NBL activity, it has to be age appropriate. The content should be relevant and not too complex or sensitive for their age. Secondly, select articles that complement the curriculum and can naturally tie into the subjects being taught. So do not take something which is not related to the curriculum. Try and relate it with what you're teaching in the class. So the content should also be relevant to the students' lives, interests, and the community. It also have, the article that you select should also have diverse perspective. Okay, so provide a range of articles, or the activity has to have diverse perspectives. So provide a range of articles that present multiple viewpoints to encourage critical thinking. It's important to teach students to understand different perspectives and biases in the media. Interdisciplinary approach. So look for opportunities to connect the content of the newspaper with multiple subjects. For example, a story on local wildlife can be tied to science, geography, and even math. So it's not difficult. I know we were never taught like that. I know we had our limitations, but as teachers, it just comes naturally for us to integrate topics. And I'm sure most of you can achieve after the examples that we have shared with you today. I'm sure you have got many ideas. So please take it into the classroom and make it more interdisciplinary. The next is critical thinking and analysis. Keep it in mind. Use the newspaper as a tool to develop analytical skills. It should not become any other reading activity. No, not like that. So it should encourage students to, you should encourage students to ask questions about the text, discern fact from opinion, and identify any potential bias. In media literacy, educate students on the difference between various types of news, such as editorials, opinion pieces, advertisements, and news reports. Under interactive and engaging learning, please remember you have to engage students in activities like debates, role plays, or project-based learning that stem from the newspaper content to make learning interactive and collaborative. Thirdly, safety and sensitivity. That also you have to keep in mind. Okay, screen content for potentially distressing or controversial topics. There's lots going on in the world. And we don't, not that our children are not aware, but especially when at a tender age, we do not expose our children to articles which have violence or which talk about, biases. We don't have to talk about that. Okay, we have to take up topics which are more, child-friendly, which doesn't impact their psyche. So that we have to remember always. Then use newspapers to develop reading skills, but start with headlines and captions, then move on to articles, gradually increasing complexity as the skills improve. So when you're doing just reading and comprehension, you have to make sure that you start with the headline, the top, and then you follow through and, trickle down to articles and then increase the complexity. Because if you expose the child to too much of content, newspaper content, the child is going to get intimidated. So let's not do that. Let's make sure that they are comfortable. So we'll take baby steps. You should start with small things and then increase the complexity slowly and steadily. Then you must not forget to integrate technology. If digital newspapers are used, incorporate lessons on navigating these platforms responsibly and interpreting digital content critically. Okay, so that is very important. Then evaluate and feedback. This has to be an everyday thing, not just for activities or any one particular activity. Have a method to assess the effectiveness of the approach that you use in your classroom, not just for NBL, for any. It could be PBL, it could be TBL, it could be IBL. Get feedback from students about what they enjoyed and what they found challenging. It's very important. So after you do the newspaper based learning, I'm sure if you ask the students, what did you enjoy more? The learning through the newspaper, or would you prefer a textbook? You will get your answers. It's important. So when you do the newspaper, you again have to ask, did you like the article which had a lot of pictures, or did you like the ones which had a lot of content? Okay, different children are going to give you different responses, but basis that you will be able to gauge what really works in your class. And feedback is important because if you want to become better at it, you need to know where you need to improve. So now let's wrap up the session with a 2-minute video with summary points, and then we get back to for question and answers.
भावना,
जी सर।
अरे भाई आज क्या सेशन में, तो मैं तो ऑलरेडी 4 पेपर पढ़ता हूँ न्यूज़पेपर, तो कल से मुझे बोलना पड़ेगा भाई 2 न्यूज़पेपर एडिशनल कर दो, क्योंकि आज ट्रेनिंग सेशन में तो भावना ने लोड कर दिया भाई है।
नहीं सर, आपको डराने के लिए नहीं है सेशन।
डराना नहीं है, मतलब इतना आपने इतना मोटिवेट कर दिया आपने कि भाई यार 2 4 की जगह 2 पेपर और मंगाने पड़ेंगे हैं, और फिर एक्स्ट्रा टाइम निकालना पड़ेगा कि भाई
सर
2
आपके
पेपर।
पास टाइम नहीं है सर, आप मत ये जोखिम लेना सर प्लीज।
नहीं, क्या करेंगे, ऐसा सेशन करोगे तो जोखिम की बात ही नहीं ना भाई, एजुकेटर की बात तो सुननी पड़ेगी ना भाई, टू टू कीप योर
Oh,
सेल्फ एब्रिस्ट विद नॉलेज, है ना।
sir, I'm here to listen to what you say. I'm here to follow what you are going to tell me.
हाँ, तो अब ये बताइए नेक्स्ट सेशन आप कब ले रहे हो फैशन डिजाइनिंग पे, तो जो टीचर्स का
Sir,
कोड।
whenever, sir,
नहीं,
whenever,
दैट
I
इज,
will be more than happy.
I must tell you that is very important.
Yes.
See, dress code in school, people should come in a proper dress. One thing I must admit here, at least the ladies, whether she is menial staff or top, they come in a proper dress. We men, we are so casual coming to the school without shaving, without proper dress, right? So special session should be there for the men, how to come to the school proper in a proper dress.
Yes, yes. Why not, sir? You please tell me whenever. I'll be more than happy.
Now you plan that, I'm not joking. You must,
Okay, sir.
there should be 2 sessions on fashion part. One is for the teaching or non-teaching staff. Other should be for children, right?
Yes, yes,
You can
sir.
make one program. We can circulate your videos, and school can show in their schools what is the how child should wear. We can circulate to the parents.
Great idea, sir.
The
Great
parents
idea.
also, कि okay, ma, like this, please send your child to the school in a proper dress.
Yes.
Chaliए,
Great
हाँ.
idea.
Now,
Great
who's taking forward? Sheela or Neelam? I don't know who is going to take it forward.
So any questions? I mean, thank you
Yeah,
for
I think-
sitting patiently, but
Yes.
I would really appreciate if there are certain questions from the audience. Although I know most of you already know that, how to take it into the classroom. So it's not a very complex thing, but I think a lot of these examples would have helped you all. We have also done a workshop where we have used newspapers for effective or meaningful MCQs. So we have used only newspaper articles and helped teachers to design questions based on Bloom's taxonomy for each level, or just newspaper articles. So that is something also which you can think of when you are doing activities with grades 3, 4, 5. You can take those articles when you are assessing instead of giving a regular worksheet.
Bhavna ma'am, Sapna ma'am wants to know, do we only have to use latest articles or old ones can also?
No. Old one can also work. But see, whatever works for you in the class. So if you're talking about a certain topic where you're talking about an earthquake, suppose some calamity, earthquake. If it has not happened now, it has happened in the past, maybe last month, of course you can talk about it. And it will be better because they are already familiar with the news. So now they will learn it better.
Shipra ma'am wants to know, are there any ideas or specific articles especially applicable to nursery children? Actually, we gave a lot of examples.
Actually, we gave a lot of examples, but ma'am, if you can subscribe to this newspaper, Young World or Robin Age, there are a lot of very sweet, cute articles which you can take. I would say cute articles, which you can take because they're very colorful with animated characters and, stars and elements, which you can actually take it into the classroom.
Rajni ma'am has added a little bit of additional information. She says it will be highly appreciated if there will be a section where some students' work will be highlighted and probably made visible so that they feel more motivated.
Yes, of course. That making learning visible is something that we have to do on an everyday level. Wherever children have worked, even if it is not up to your expectation, we must put it out. We must put it out because for them, it's an achievement. And that motivates them to do better. Okay, nobody has to tell them whether you were good or not. When we compare, we naturally, as human beings, we tend to compare a lot. So when we see the display, we tend to compare and we know where we need to improve. Yes, certainly.
Vidhi Dhruva ma'am has said amazing activity ideas for integration of subjects. It was a very good session. Thank you. In fact, many of the schools are now switching away from having standard periods for subjects, and they are going in for thematic models where everything is taught holistically in an integrated manner. So Bhavna ma'am, maybe you can just share something about that.
Yes, of course. I mean, this is the way. This is how we have to modify our teaching. We have to progress. This is what growth is, design thinking is. We have to bring in unfamiliar text. We have to expose our children to something which is more real and current. So yes, this is the way. And all the schools should actually do. Even if you cannot change it completely, entirely, you can just do it in parts. As I said, wherever you think there is an opportunity, there is a window for NBL session, bring it in, bring that material in and help your children learn better.
Yeah. So, Sarika Jitendra ma'am, I think if you see the recording of this session, or maybe if you've taken some snapshots, you will see that Bhavna ma'am has already named some very good children's newspapers. And maybe you can talk to your library or your management and have those newspapers come into your school. Aarti Mishra ma'am says, ma'am, children can make their own stories and can make their own newspaper in colorful ways as well.
Yes, yes. We did talk about that.
Yeah. So basically, newspaper as a resource can also lead into making of a newspaper.
Newspaper.
Yeah. So you can start with a class-wise newspaper, then you can go, a section-wise, then move into a class-wise where you give editor role to somebody for that grade.
Yeah,
and then
which works well for high grades. Yes.
Yeah, and then you can have a school newspaper. And for higher classes, you can shift the newspaper onto something like blogging. So they can start making blogs and people can post remarks onto the blogs. And that becomes even more, meaningful learning because you're talking about news items which are very relevant, which are connected to what they are learning. And you are getting opinions from people who are reading your article and sharing their views. So with the higher grade children, that becomes even more. So what ma'am has taken today, even though it's just for foundational and preparatory, I think it can go a long way by extrapolating the idea into the higher classes.
Thank you, Ishita ma'am. Yes, students made, yes, there was a poem by students. Yes, some of the children are really gifted. They're gifted with words. I mean, it just flows out. The poetry just flows out. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Pooja ji. Thank you for your appreciation and kind words. I think, Neelam ma'am, what do you say? Sheetal ma'am, should we?
Bhavna ma'am, I'm here to bring a closure to this session. I don't think I really.
Sheetal, one thing I wanted to say to Bhavna, I was not knowing why Arjun is looking so smart. Today I have realized the reason of your fashion designer. So you are keeping Mr. Arjun Tandon really in a very, very.
Sir, I will take the credit happily. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now you carry on.
Bhavna, just to answer your question, this is anyways a topic which is very close to all the academicians and a very, very important tool, but highly neglected, unfortunately.
So true. You're right.
I mean, it's a goldmine of information and skill development, but I don't think we academicians take it seriously. It's too easily available. We don't have to strive to get a newspaper. If we strive for it, probably the value will come in. So
I think so.
Absolutely. And it is one of the biggest language building tools if the teachers understand it that way. So I think this was I saw the topic, I said newspaper and curriculum, and it was a wonderful feeling. And that's how we got all our teachers
together. Close to my heart too.
Very close to our heart, really.
Debika ma'am, you wish to speak.
Today, and the numbers speak for themselves because I think today's session was so well appreciated by everybody. It was an amazingly engaging session. All of us
Actually
were
second
glued
that.
to the screen and we didn't want to lose
you.
even a second. I was taking screenshots. I am afraid I was taking screenshots on my phone.
You must.
I was doing that because I wanted to share it forward.
Knowledge
And I
is to
put
be
it in our
shared,
group
definitely.
also. I put it in our group also. I said we need to share this. It was such a beautiful day of learning.
Perfect.
How
I'm
Thank
lovely.
so
you.
happy. I'm so
I'm
happy.
also sitting with 3 principals, Bhavna, and I could see all of them telling each other, keep quiet, and they're only taking pictures of the screen.
Ma'am, आपके पास से recording है.
And then finally one of them said, ma'am, can we please get this presentation? I said, I'll try my luck, but otherwise in this matter, sir is very, very un-newspaper-like. He's not generous at all. It's not easily available.
So I don't think we really need to draw a formal closure to this. I think there has been enough of Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
But
Yes, yes.
compliments in the chat box. I really don't have to say much. But to sum it, I would say a fantastic, very immersive, engaging, and interesting session, Bhavna ji.
Thank you,
had a
thank you, thank you.
fantastic time and such a melodious voice that added, that was the icing on the cake.
The
You
story
have a very
Somebody
sweet
actually
voice.
mentioned that, is it a recorded voice from the airports? I said, no, it's an original human voice.
I have a new job option.
And for those of us who are not aware, we also have Arjun with us, the very, very supportive half, if I may say so. There is no
Yes,
better half. And
very, very.
so, hello, Arjun. It's wonderful to see you again. And thank you. Behind every successful woman, now we can say there is a man. You
Yes,
actually
yes.
reversed the proverb completely.
Totally.
Thank
अर्जुन
you.
भाई स्क्रीन पे तो आ जाओ यार.
He's there, sir. He's there.
So he's there.
He's there.
अर्जुन को जरा हाईलाइट कर दो यार, कब दिखाओ तो कैसा भावना ने मेंटेन
Okay,
किया
okay.
उसको. अर्जुन
Here
से
we go.
हाँ ये देखो
It
सॉफ्टवेयर
has gone to
इंजीनियर आ
Atari,
गया.
sir. I know him.
सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर आ गया देखो.
Thank you
Well
very
done,
much.
huh? I really want again pay my gratitude to my core team. Well, you are working so hard to organize such a program, and all the participants are obliged to my core team for their really great, participation, great their guidance.
Absolutely wonderful.
Chalo.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much. Good day. Have a good
Sheetal.
weekend.
Thank you to everyone. Thank you,
Sheela.
teachers.
Thank you, Neelam.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Kedia, sir.
Okay, bye. Thank you.
Debika, ma'am. Sheela, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.